Tonight, we need to talk about the devastating explosion that has just shaken the heart of India's capital. We're going to break down the tragic events of November 10th right near Delhi's historic Red Fort, which, as you know, is such a powerful symbol for the entire nation. We'll get into what happened, the immediate aftermath, and the urgent investigation that's now unfolding. So let's get right into it.
To really understand this, we're going to break it down into 4 parts. First, we'll look at the explosion itself, the what, where, and when. Then we'll cover the official response from authorities. After that, we'll see how this single event put the whole country on high alert. And finally, we'll bring you up to speed on where the investigation stands right now.
All right, let's start with the incident itself. We're going to look at those critical moments that turned a totally normal Monday evening into an absolute scene of tragedy. So, picture this. It's Monday evening, just about 10 minutes to 7. You're in Delhi's old city, it's bustling, you can hear the traffic, people are heading home from work, just a completely typical scene at one of the capital's busiest spots. And here's how it all went down, according to what we know. A car, a Hyundai i20, pulls up and stops at a traffic light. Just a few moments later, that same car erupts into a massive fireball. The explosion was so powerful, it completely destroyed the vehicle and badly damaged several others around it, including some auto rickshaws. And the human cost of this, well, it's just devastating. Initial reports have confirmed that at least 8 people lost their lives right there in the blast. And on top of those fatalities, the blast just left this wide circle of chaos and injury. More than 20 other people were hurt, overwhelming first responders and the local hospitals in those first critical minutes. The location of this attack is just so significant. We're talking about the Red Fort, a huge national symbol, and the area is always crowded. This makes the incident not just a horrible tragedy, but as this quote says, a matter of grave security concern. It's a huge deal. An incident on this scale, well, it demands a massive and immediate response. So let's take a look at how the authorities and the government reacted in those first few hours. The Delhi police moved incredibly fast. Within just a few hours, they registered a case under some of the country's most serious laws. You've got the UAPA, which is India's main anti-terror law, the Explosives Act, and the Criminal Code. This move right here signaled that from the very beginning, they were treating this as a potential act of terrorism. So you've got 2 key agencies leading this thing. The Delhi Police, of course, were the first ones on the scene, but almost immediately, the National Investigation Agency, the NIA, was brought in. These guys are India's top counterterrorism task force, and their involvement just underscores the serious national security implications of this attack. And the response came from the very top. Prime Minister Narendra Modi condemned the attack, he expressed his condolences to the victims' families, and he delivered a really stern warning, saying that the perpetrators would, in his words, not be spared. Yeah, the impact of an attack like this is never just local, right? It creates these ripple effects that spread out far and wide. So let's look at how this one event immediately put the entire nation on a much higher state of alert. So, as a direct result, security was visibly cranked up all across the capital region of Delhi. But that alert didn't stop at the city's borders. Neighboring states like Uttar Pradesh and Haryana also went on high alert, increasing patrols and surveillance just as a precaution. And right now, the area is still a very active and sensitive investigation zone. Authorities have actually put out a public advisory asking everyone to please avoid the area around the Red Fort and the metro station there, just to give investigators the space they need to work. Okay, so that brings us to our final section, the investigation itself. The scene is secure, the agencies are in place. So what are the key leads? And what are the big unanswered questions that investigators are zeroing in on right now? The investigation is pushing forward on a few different fronts at once. First, there's evidence collection. They're poring over CCTV footage and grimly analyzing human remains found inside the car. Second, you've got the forensics teams working to identify the exact type of explosives used. And third, authorities are trying to trace the ownership of that car. And that discovery of human remains inside the vehicle has led investigators to a pretty strong working theory that this was likely a suicide attack. That means the attacker probably intended to die in the blast, which, as you know, almost always points to a premeditated act of terror. Which, of course, all leads to the biggest question of all. What was the motive? Why did this happen? Well, all the physical evidence is being carefully analyzed. The ultimate reason for this attack is still a mystery. Was it a coordinated terror plot or the act of a single person? Answering that is the central focus of the entire investigation right now. So what started as just another Monday evening has now become a national tragedy and a really critical security challenge. And as the investigation continues, an entire nation is watching, just waiting for answers, for accountability, and hopefully for some sense of justice.